Hi, thanks for watching. Please click like and subscribe, and stay tuned after the video to see how you can keep this channel going. On to the show. Hello, humans. This is Ask Addi, starring... No, that's not. No. Featuring? With? Anyway, I'm Addi, Addison Smith, and in these videos, I answer questions that people have about the LGBTQ+ community, trans issues, and sometimes just personal questions. Why ask me? Well, I'm fairly intelligent, but more importantly, I'm old and been through a bit. When I came to accept that I'm a transgender person, I studied gender theory as a way of understanding myself, so I've built up a bit of knowledge on these subjects. I'm also an activist who speaks on diversity issues, and I'm trans, a trans feminine non-binary person who has been out for about a decade now. I've got some experience dealing with the crap trans people and queer people in general face. For instance, this question. I've seen you use the term non-binary a lot. What does that actually mean? How can you be something other than a man or a woman? Why use they instead of she? Confused. I know, it doesn't seem that crappy, but I didn't include the whole message. It devolved. However, it does deserve an answer because there are well-meaning people who don't understand this. So let's break it down. There's a couple of bits of information that you need to really get this. Unfortunately, they're both kind of complex, so all I can really do in this short form video is introduce you to the topics. First, human biological sex is not the binary that most of us are taught it is. This whole business of XX equals woman, XY equals man basically comes from a 5th grade science reader from 1984. Since then, we have learned that human development is way more complex than this or that because of course it is. What about humans isn't complex? Many of the ways humans develop, which were called disorders or syndromes in the past, are now thought of as just normal ways the body can develop. Atypical, yes, but still normal. Atypical does not mean abnormal. It means other than the majority. So without going into too much more into it, many experts in human development see biological sex not as this or that with some other stuff that comes up as occasionally, but as a continuum. On this continuum, you have typical men and women on the ends. The center is intersex people who have ambiguous sex characteristics, and between the center and ends you have people who seem to be one sex or the other, but display characteristics of both typical sexes to varying degrees. There's a great article about this from a few years back that appeared in both Nature and Scientific American called Sex Redefined by Claire Ainsworth. I'll link to it in the description. This article was one of the first things I read while researching these issues, and I think it can help anyone get their head around it. The second concept that you have to get your head around is that gender identity is set by structures in the brain, and that those structures develop independently from the body. It's been shown that parts of the brain seem to be hardwired from birth to give us a sense of what gender we are. There's no such thing as male brain, female brain, but there are little paths in there that tell us. Again, I'm not going to go into the science here, but I invite you to look this stuff up for yourself. The resources page on my website has links to several articles that I have found helpful. It has also been shown that those structures in transgender people look like the sex with which they identify. A trans man knows himself to be a man because his brain says he is, no matter how the rest of the body is shaped, and he's been wired that way since birth. Yes, there's way too more to it, but again, short form video. I teach courses on this topic that usually take 2 hours, so everything is not about to fit in here. Now, here's the hypothetical part that I don't think anyone has actually published research on yet. I've seen it out there in the ether, but no research. If sexual development is a continuum and the brain is shaped by the same forces but independently from the body, then it is possible that the brain is also on a continuum. Therefore, non-binary people are simply people who are in the middle of that continuum. I really hope someone completes a research project on this soon because I really want to see the results. And I don't mean reading things on the internet and calling it research. I mean people with doctorates in related fields, with fMRI scanners, PCR cyclers, and a working knowledge of SPSS. Actual research. So to answer the original question, what does it mean to be non-binary? Your sense of self simply doesn't conform to the ideas of man or woman, and that may be because our brains don't conform to them either. How can you be something other than a man or woman? There are lots of people who do not fall onto those parts of the continuum of biological sex. It's actually pretty normal not to be a typical man or woman. Why use they as our pronoun? Our language is highly gendered, and it doesn't cover all the ways in which humans develop. So we need to find a way to communicate that idea. In English, they has been used as a singular pronoun for people of undetermined sex since the 1300s. Non-binary people have simply adopted this word that already exists, since it is more a gender-appropriate term. Okay. This is a wholly inadequate explanation of this topic. Like I said, I usually spend hours talking about gender identity. But I do hope that it has sparked some interest in you to learn about it yourself. You can find more articles on this on my website, addisonsagenda.com. Just click resources to find something that might help you out. Or you might want to hire a speaker who talks on these issues. Just saying. Maybe you want to ask a question that I can answer in a future video. If so, send them to questions@addisonsagenda.com. That's questions@addisonsagenda.com. Now is the time when I ask you for help, so take it away, me. Thanks for watching my channel. Please click like, share, and subscribe, and check out my other titles. Have a question for any show? Send it to questions@addisonsagenda.com. On my website, addisonsagenda.com, you can learn about booking me to speak at your event and much more. All money made from speaking videos or through a GoFundMe goes to help with the medical bills my kid and I have due to hypermobile Ehlers-Danlos Syndrome. The link to the GoFundMe is below, as is a link to the Ehlers-Danlos Society, where you can learn more about EDS. Thanks again for watching. Peace and long life.